Good evening and welcome to California Today. I'm David Lamb. Let's take a look at today's stories. Californians could sue gunmakers if its new gun industry bill makes its way into legislation. Lawmakers say the bill intends to prevent illegal gun sales and violence. Former Republican gubernatorial candidate Larry Elder will not run in the upcoming 2022 election. The radio host says he has other goals to focus on. California politicians announced a new bill today that will allow the government and citizens to sue the gun industry. They say it's to prevent illegal gun sales and theft to reduce gun violence. California Assembly members introduced the new Gun Industry Responsibility Act on Tuesday morning in a virtual conference. Under Assembly Bill 1594, individuals, the state, and counties will be able to sue gun manufacturers and dealers if their failure to follow federal, state, or local laws caused injury or death, or if the gun industry member engaged in unfair business practices.
Almost every industry in the U.S. is held liable for what their products do. So if you have a defective toy, if your car has a problem, those manufacturers are held responsible for what happens and what their products do.
State Assemblyman Ting said they've worked on this legislation since last July, and they aim to save lives and reduce homicides.
The gun industry is the one exception. In California, AB 1594 will change that.
This bill would allow people to pursue civil claims against the gun industry.
We know that gun dealers on the whole are not engaging in dangerous business practices, but that there are a small minority of them that are. This means that they could be selling to people who are known straw purchasers, who are then trafficking firearms into communities that are disproportionately impacted by gun violence.
The authors hope to finalize the bill language this month, with hearings likely to start in spring. David Lamb, NTD News, California. San Francisco reported its first homicide of the year. On Monday afternoon, an adult male was fatally shot and died in an apartment building on Brannan Street. The suspect, 43-year-old Ricky Anikas, turned himself in at San Francisco County Jail. Elizabeth Holmes was hailed as the next Steve Jobs, but now she faces prison time after being found guilty of multiple federal fraud charges. The case marks a rare criminal fraud trial of a Silicon Valley entrepreneur. Here's the latest, along with a look ahead to what may come next.
And she must now face sentencing for her crimes.
Elizabeth Holmes left the courthouse Monday night expressing no visible emotion after being found guilty of 3 out of 9 fraud counts and 1 of 2 conspiracy counts.
The prosecution did a very good job. They had a hard job to get through all of the technology, all of the science behind it, and to show the intent to defraud investors.
Rachel Fizet is a managing partner at Zweibeck, Fizet & Coleman. Fizet says the jury found her guilty mainly of defrauding investors.
Those amount to approximately $145 million. And those were the charges that she was found guilty of, which means they thought she was misrepresenting the technology, the company to investors.
Each count carries a maximum prison sentence of 20 years each, and it is likely Holmes will have to pay restitution. Michelle Hagan is a legal analyst at Trial Ready. Hagan says this is a wake-up call to Silicon Valley.
Or to anybody out there, any business owner out there who makes statements that are misrepresentations or false or fraudulent.
Aaron Solomon is the chief legal analyst of Esquire Digital, a marketing agency for law firms. Solomon says Holmes will likely appeal.
Because it was a split decision, meaning that she was found guilty on some of the counts and not guilty on some of the counts.
The sentencing date has not yet been determined. Colin Fredrickson, NTD News.
Conservative radio talk show host Larry Elder says he will not be challenging Governor Gavin Newsom in the upcoming November's election. Newsom will be running for his second term in 2022. Elder, who won the most Republican votes in September's recall election, said in a statement on Tuesday that he will not seek to oust Newsom a second time. Elder is instead focusing on forming the Elder for America PAC, which will help support Republican candidates in this year's House of Representatives and Senate midterm elections. It will also assist GOP candidates in local races where public safety and education are top issues. Elder said in his statement, "Today, we don't just have a state to save, we have a country to save." Anaheim saw 4 opioid overdose-related deaths throughout the city, all occurring within an hour. Police say investigations are ongoing, but the drug is suspected to be fentanyl. NTD's Cynthia Kai has the details.
4 people reportedly overdosed on opioids and died within an hour of each other in Anaheim, California on Monday. Police say they suspect fentanyl or fentanyl-tainted drugs to have caused the deaths. The first was at 11:40 a.m. Officers responded to a deceased female in a motel room in the 800 block of South Beach Boulevard. Then at about 12:05 p.m., officers responded to a deceased male in the 1700 block of South State College Boulevard.
About an hour after the first call, we received the third call, which was of 3 male adults that were out on the street, or as the sidewalk, as it were, at the intersection of Anaheim and Water. Officers arrived on scene. 2 of those adult male victims were pronounced deceased on scene. There was a third that was administered Narcan.
He was transported to the hospital in critical condition.
Now, in the sense of any foul play, meaning that this was anything other than a purposeful ingestion of drugs by the victim who then overdosed in turn, no, there's nothing to indicate that any of these people were forced to take or ingest the drugs.
Carringer says investigations are still ongoing, but police suspect the deaths were opioid overdoses based on the type of drug equipment found at the scenes of the deaths.
I'm not talking about a pharmaceutical-grade fentanyl that does have a legitimate medical application. I'm talking about illicit fentanyl that's sold on the street. It didn't exist, until a number of years ago. But it does seem that fentanyl has found its way, whether purposely or by accident, into a variety of other drugs that you wouldn't expect to see it in. And I think that's what's causing some other accidental exposures and overdoses.
Since 2013, China has been the primary source of fentanyl exports to the U.S. illicit drug market through firms with special licenses granted by the Chinese Communist Party.
We're living in a day and age where a lot of these drugs are tainted with substances that you are not expecting to come in contact with, and it can be fatal.
Both the Obama and Trump administrations had previously pressured the CCP to crack down on the production and exports of the drug. Cynthia Kai, NTD News, California.
The San Francisco mayor and several city officials gave updates on the city's Omicron situation. They also said what they expect to happen in the coming weeks. NTD's Jason Blair reports.
On Tuesday, San Francisco Mayor London Breed, along with representatives from the health, police, and fire departments, shared updates related to COVID-19. They emphasized the newer Omicron variant, which has been shown to be the most contagious of the variants.
Today, our 7-day average case rate is 829 cases per day, which is more than double last winter's peak.
Despite sounding the alarm, the mayor also said that the Omicron variant is less severe than the previous variants. The city and hospitals are in a much better place to be able to handle the current surge, which is expected to peak in the coming weeks. The mayor also mentioned that there are currently several police, fire department, and transit staff in quarantine.
And as of yesterday, we have 167 police officers who are quarantined, and we have 135 members of the fire department in quarantine, and almost 100 people in our SFMDA department, which some of those folks are Muni operators.
While the mayor said that some patients might be needed, city services will be running more or less as usual. Some staff will be working overtime to cover for their colleagues who might be sick. Breed was asked about the economic impacts that the city will be facing.
It is definitely going to impact our economy, but I think as we come out of this next surge, what we will see is the ability to continue to come together, reduce some of the regulations that we've imposed, and start to get back to a level of normal or adjustment in terms of how we're living.
The city's leaders say that while Omicron poses different challenges than the Alpha or Delta variants, they expect to get through them fairly quickly. Jason Blair, NTD News, San Francisco.
Twins are typically born with the same birthday, but for 2 California twins, one was born in 2021 and the other in 2022. 2 twins born at the Natividad Medical Center in Salinas, California were only 15 minutes apart, but on different days, months, and years. Alfredo Trujillo was first delivered at 11:45 p.m. on December 31st, 2021. His twin sister, Aylin Trujillo, entered the world exactly at midnight on January 1st, 2022. Their mother, Fatima Madrigal, said it's crazy they are twins with different birthdays, but is happy they arrived healthy, joining 3 older siblings. Dr. Anna Arias, who delivered the twins, said their births were an amazing way to start the new year and one of the most memorable deliveries of her career. Now to NTD's Thomas Christian for an update on sports.
I'm Thomas Christian, and this is the California Today Sports Roundup.
LAFC have hired former U.S. defender Steve Cherundolo as their new head coach, replacing Bob Bradley, the team announced on Monday. A Southern California native, Cherundolo represented the U.S. in 3 World Cups and played for more than 15 years in Germany's Bundesliga for Hannover 96. He has held a variety of coaching positions, including serving as head coach of LAFC's United Soccer League affiliate team, the Las Vegas Lights, last season. LAFC co-president and general manager John Thorrington said Cherundolo's vast experience led him to be named the squad's second head coach after it joined the league as an expansion team in 2018. After missing 2.5 seasons with knee and Achilles injuries, Golden State Warriors guard Klay Thompson could be less than a week away from his return, ESPN reported. The Warriors are optimistic that Thompson's first game since 2019 will take place Sunday at home against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Golden State plays at home against the Miami Heat on Monday and then goes on a 2-game road trip to Dallas and New Orleans. According to the report, the team won't officially confirm Thompson's return for Sunday until it has completed the upcoming road trip. This follows other previous interviews Thompson has given, stating that he himself won't know the official return date until the day before. The Warriors previously announced that Klay Thompson will be back on December 20th and then pushed that return date back to December 28th before being pushed back again. The Warriors previously announced that Klay Thompson would be back December 20th and then pushed the return date back to December 28th. It is unclear if Thompson experienced a setback in his recovery or if this was done out of abundance of caution. A 5-time All-Star, Thompson helped the Warriors win 3 NBA titles in 2015, 2017, and 2018. Golden State advanced to the NBA Finals in 5 consecutive seasons with Thompson and Stephen Curry teamed in the backcourt, but did not make the playoffs in the 2 full seasons Thompson was away. The 31-year-old Southern California native has averaged 19.5 points over 8 seasons, all with the Warriors. He averaged at least 20 points in each of his last 5 seasons and is a career 41.9% shooter from 3-point range. With a completion percentage of almost 70% and a QB rating of 116, Trey Lance finally got a win for the 49ers as their starting quarterback. Lance threw 2 touchdowns to 1 interception in a 23-7 victory over a Texans team ill-equipped for a real football contest. Nevertheless, it was the perfect setting to take the training wheels off the rookie QB, who had not attempted a pass since Week 5 against the Arizona Cardinals. It is still unclear whether Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo will start this week for the 49ers, as they take on the Rams at Los Angeles. The Niners will be playing for a spot in the playoffs. The Rams will also be playing for important playoff seeding in the final week of the regular season. Garoppolo has not definitively been cleared by the team, and if he is still out next week, this game showed the Niners are still in good hands.
As always, I'm Thomas Christian, and thanks for tuning in.
And that's all for tonight. You can join us again on California Today every weekday at 8 p.m. If you have any news tips or ideas for a show, feel free to let us know. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. I'm David Lamb. Have a wonderful evening.